I want to talk about another issue that's crucial to the economy, and that's childcare.
Mm.
Now, childcare, we've recently seen reporting that it is now more expensive than college on
Mm.
an annual basis. We can't talk about inflation or affordability without contending with childcare, which is also just in shorter supply than it was, in addition to being much more expensive. What can you do to help families struggling with the cost of childcare?
Yeah, that's an important issue. So there are a few things that we need to consider. The first is just the availability of childcare. So whether it is an in-home family daycare provider or a child licensed childcare facility, we have to scale up all of those things. So, from a land use perspective, that means making it easier to build childcare facilities and making sure that they are exempt from some of the, paperwork requirements that we often impose on construction. Um, we also need to make sure that we are supporting childcare workers themselves. It is an expensive proposition to take your child to childcare. And I know I've got 3 kids. It was not easy. But it's expensive because we are entrusting these childcare providers with our littlest citizens, and they do an important job. And there's also limitations on how many children they can watch at one time. So making sure that we are providing them with good wages and access to benefits is also important. And as you said, it is so expensive to provide childcare. So some of the things that we've talked about in the past, some things I would like to see include, for example, having sort of a health savings account, but for childcare. So having employers provide access to a savings opportunity to be able to stockpile that. And also just asking our employers to provide better access to childcare subsidies so that they can ensure that their workers can get to work and do the things that they, provide the services that they are providing for folks. One of the things that the city is doing is also trying to, through the Families and Education Levy, increase the Seattle preschool program opportunities. So we just expanded, particularly for bilingual slots. We just added 7 additional facilities that can provide bilingual education. So we now have 35 Seattle preschool programs operating in the city, and I think most of the additional ones were here in the South End. So there is work that the city can do in terms of providing actual financial support, and then there is work that we can do to make sure that it is easier to build and easier to increase the capacity of our city to provide space for childcare providers.